Okay, welcome everybody to the Sunday night chart chat. This is for all our penny stock billionaires tuning in tonight. Actually, I have a little poll. We put up a little poll here. I think it's only available on YouTube. Let's see if this works. Actually, I have a little. There we go. Now it's gone. Okay, hang on a second. Okay, so now the problem is I lost the chart. Okay, give me one second. I got to pull up the chart. Anyway, so the poll on which is up on YouTube is for the future live streams or more for these these sort of. Do you want to hear more fundamentals or do you prefer more charts? We have a choice of two. You can only choose one or two. You can't say I want both. You can only say either more charts or more fundamentals. I'm just curious to see what is the thing that people want to hear more of. I don't know if that's actually a legitimate survey because it could be the people who are watching are maybe they're just by nature, they want to hear about charts, so it may not be a statistically valid, but okay, let me just get stand by. Let me pull up the charts. I'm going to pull up the Bitcoin chart first because that is one of our big things here. Okay. Okay, is Bitcoin up? Okay, the Bitcoin chart is up. Okay, so before I start, nothing here is a recommendation to buy or sell securities. This is all, obviously very biased information. Mostly we're talking about clients of Wall Street Report, so you should assume that, obviously our opinion is very, very biased. All these stocks are very, very high risk. Anything can go to zero. So, make sure you are aware of the risks before you invest. Do your due diligence, as they say. Okay, so let's start off with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, which is kind of a bellwether for speculation, looking really strong. I mean, it kind of had last week. It was looked a little bit iffy, or I should say, early in the week it looked a little bit iffy, but it has come back strong. I think it's just gonna climb a wall of worry. Pretty much that's what this is. It's going to climb a wall of worry to maybe it probably is going to go to 100,000. I mean, but it does these kind of real shakeouts. So again, it's like I think it's going to go to 100,000, but keep your parachute packed and stand near the exit because this is again with any type of speculative assets, speculative investment, or I shouldn't even say speculative investment, speculation. You want to be prepared. Okay, by the way, guys, just please vote in the survey on the YouTube on that survey. I don't know if you see the survey, it's up on the top of the chat box, because that way I kind of want to see the numbers. I want to see like what's the percentage that we get. We'll see if there's any validity there. Okay, so again, for anybody that's new here, our goal is to bring you stocks which have that 10x to 100x. Now this program, the Penny Stock Billionaire program, this is not the official company information, and we're only talking about the charts. We're talking about stuff which is there's no official company information here, so this is really an opinion. Of course, it's a biased opinion, but I'm kind of giving you my opinion, not related to what the company is going to say. So this is not official stuff. Just take it for what it is. Again, so our goal is we're looking for these stocks which have that 10x to 100x upside, and we've had already we have had 7 of them already. Peak Fintech is the 7th in the last 18 months or so, and I think we're going to close out the year with at least 3 more 10 baggers plus. So we have a couple more stocks that are ready to go 10x. And I think we actually have a few that might go 10x twice. I'm going to talk about those in just a second. And again, the whole idea is, the main thing is we're looking for that asymmetrical risk reward setup. So, it's like a 10-to-1 upside. So, you might risk $1, but your upside is $10. Or, you're risking 25 cents, but your upside is 250. I'm not looking for a situation where, you're just going to double your money and you could also lose your money. So now inside the thumbnail for the YouTube, we're saying 3 stocks that could double the next 30 days. Normally I like to say 3 stocks that can go 5x, 10x, whatever. But figure let me do double, because I'm curious to see if that sounds a little more. Some people, it scares people if they hear big numbers. It might kind of scare some people off. So I'm just going to say 3 stocks that could potentially double in the next 30 days. And I'm going to talk about those 3. I think they actually could do more than double. I think some of these guys could be like triples. Okay, so first, this guy here, hybrid. I don't know if this is Todd. I don't know who this is, the hybrid. I'm going to have to take this super chat here because look, the Money Talks. It's a nice logo. The Hybrid Lab, the logo is looking good. Okay, so the Hybrid Lab is going to be the new the combination of basically what do you call it? Trip, Light Holland, and the Australian cannabis deal. So that merger is supposed to be closing at some point soon. I think it's going to be up for a vote. So I don't know when that's coming out. That should be soon. But let me look at the chart. Let's go back to the chart because that is the main thing here. So let's take a look at the chart of Red Light. So Red Light is not technically a client right now, although I do have a bunch of shares. Now, so I'm probably biased. So, okay. Here's what's interesting. So this thing has been kind of in a holding pattern for the last 1, 2, 3 months, 4 months. One of the things I like to say is the longer a stock kind of stays in a stable holding pattern, the bigger the upside is. So, and it's usually in proportion to that length of time it's been in that holding pattern. By the way, we saw exactly the same thing happen with Peak. I kind of told you what happened, and it happened. So I think the same. Now, Friday's action, this looks like there was a little bit of action. Now, there's very little volume. It's been kind of, that I'm promoting. It's kind of been, I don't know. I guess they're waiting for this merger to go through. But here's the thing. I think this thing is starting to look good. It needs to break out above 30 cents. So we're going to see what happens in the next couple of weeks. But if and when this stock breaks out, and I'm hoping that it will break out, I think the upside is going to be close to $1 because it's going to be in proportion to the amount of time it's been in that holding pattern. So let's see here. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of stocks that could double in the next 30 days. I'm not going to go in any specific order. I'm going to go through, I'm going to kind of go to, what do you call it? Actually, let me do this. Let me start off with, which one should I start off with? I'm going to start with Friday's live streams. I'm going to start off with the companies that we had on Friday. So Relic. So here's something really, really interesting. Okay. Again, this is a stock we introduced last March. I think it was February. It was February, and it was, I think, 60 cents, 70 cents, whatever it was. So we had a nice pop, a little bit over 90 cents. You got the March, February sell-off happened. Stocks were kind of, pretty dead for a little while. This thing actually, I think it actually held up okay. It was, down 50%. Yeah, pretty typical for what was happening in this sector. But now you saw this break it above the moving average, and I think I told you, hey, this is it. The thing is ready to go. Look at this pattern right before the breakout. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but right before that gap up. So that's a very, very bullish pattern. It's actually, listen, not too dissimilar from Light Holland, not too much different, to be honest. Except Red Light has a much bigger base, so I think that's bullish. But anyway, getting back to Relic, RQHTF, over the counter. We had Lisa on Friday, the CEO. Check out the interview, the video. It's on YouTube. It's on our YouTube channel right now. And this chart is looking really good. From a chart standpoint, I think we're probably going to create like a little bit of cup and handle formation. So you're probably going to see a little bit of consolidation here. I've been saying we're going to see consolidation between 80 and 90 cents, and then maybe for like a week, 2 weeks, and then a breakout. And when that breakout goes, this thing can go crazy. So, I think definitely we could see this thing trading at $2 probably by the end of September. So technically it's not 30 days, it's 45 days roughly. We got the survey going. Do you want to hear more fundamentals or technicals? I'll kind of give you the fundamental story here, which I think is very compelling, which I think is the thing. This company, again, a lot of people hate this company because, they've been around a while. Well, I should say the people who hate the company, there's a couple of guys I know on the CEO.ca site, which is, by the way, if you go on CEO.ca, I like to look at it just to get a sense of kind of the consensus, the investor psychology. I usually like to take the opposite side of whatever people are doing there. So if there's too much optimism, usually that means the stock is near a top. Too much pessimism, that's usually the bottom. That's kind of what we saw with Relic. And there was a lot of people, I guess, who got in early, and the company, it took them a while that they are going. I think this is going to be huge. So here's the deal. So it's a remote patient monitoring business, right? They're getting traction. They're signing new contracts like every other week. They have a new announcement. So one of the big issues has been, okay, they have a contract in place to get, a couple thousand patients potentially. Each contract is, I don't know, could be 5,000, 20,000, whatever the number is. One of the issues has been, okay, when can they onboard the patients to get them into their system to, hook them up with a device and all that other stuff. That takes time, by the way. That doesn't happen immediately. So there's a whole process. They got delayed with COVID and everything. So that's been one of the reasons why the stock, people have been saying, oh, they're not onboarding people as fast as they should be, oh, whatever. It's happening. Here's the thing, it's happening. So these guys are doing right now, what is it, $1.5 million they did in the quarter. They're turning profitable right now. So the next quarter, I think, is going to be the big number. That's going to be, when is that going to be? That's so in a couple of months, you're going to see it. So by November, you're going to see that this thing is the picture blurry? Is the picture blurry? I don't know. Is the picture blurry? My picture looks good. I don't know what the issue. Okay, so anyway, so the fundamentals of Relic is this: they're getting basically $40 per patient per month, right? They have right now contracts. It's a done deal. In other words, it's not new companies. It's already in the can. 200,000 patients that they're going to be onboarding over the next, probably 18 months. So 200,000. That's 100,000 times 44, $8 million a month. So that's $100 million a year revenue that they're going to be doing. Now, that's what they have contracted, but they're still adding they're adding every other week, or could be every week. But they put out these announcements every few weeks about some of the new contracts. So they're adding more and more. There are more and more contracts coming in, and the onboarding is starting. Everything up. I am discussing RHT, the stock that you see up on the screen. RHT, one of our favorite stocks, which is going to buy Gilbert Saint-Yves his next Lamborghini, so he could finally upgrade. So he needs to get a new car every year with his Wall Street report, a 10-bagger profits. So next year, you're going to see, instead of this red Jaguar, you're going to see like a yellow Lamborghini or something crazy. It's going to be maybe like a yellow Rolls Royce. What is it, Dawn? I think it's a Dawn with a convertible. That's what he's going to have, like 40, not even 22-inch. He's going to have like 40-inch wheels with all sorts of spinners and everything. That's what he's going to have. So Relic basically, so these guys could be doing $100 million a year run rate revenues 12 months from now. But here's the big deal. The numbers it's already happening. By January, they're going to be, this is what the company's saying they're going to be at a run rate. They're going to exit this year at a 25 million run rate. That's what they're saying. That's the game plan. So far, they've been delivering the last couple of months. So I would say, look, I would say it sounds about right. So they're doing 25 million run rate. You got to ask yourself, what is that worth? But more importantly, what is it worth when they hit 50 million? Let's say they get 100,000 patients, 125,000 patients onto their system by next April, right? Again, the market is forward-looking. So these stocks, they get priced not on what they're doing today, but it's what the market has visibility into, what they're going to be doing 6 months from now, a year from now. So the market right now is basically the value is the market's looking at, okay, what are these guys going to be doing, potentially a year from now? So sometimes things get overpriced, sometimes they're underpriced. I think in the case of Relic, it's underpriced. So let's say they're doing 25 million run rate conservatively by December. What is that worth? Take a look at some of the comps. Take a look at Teladoc. Take a look at what Teladoc bought. I keep forgetting. What's the company that they bought? Okay, it'll come to me. But the numbers could be, I would say not 40x revenues. The market could pay for, because this space is super hot. Here's what's important. You have these the market loves the recurring revenues, big margins, contracts, the health tech space. So is 40x revenues possible? I think it is. So I would not be shocked if this thing starts trading at $1 billion evaluation by probably January, February. So that would give this thing 6-7 times. 6-7 times where the stock is right now. So instead of $1, this thing could be $6-7. Take a look at the interview with Lisa. She goes through all the numbers, the whole thing. I'm kind of giving you the big kind of picture. So the way I look at it is this. Okay, the downside here, I think, is pretty limited. The downside is kind of, if you look at it from the chart perspective, it might. Actually, I don't see this thing going back down. That's the thing. I don't see this going back down. There's just too much momentum. It's just too strong. In theory, it can go to zero. Anything can go to zero, but I don't see this thing dropping. At this point, I really don't see this. This is a very strong chart. So it's not going to go back. It's not going to fill that gap at 50 cents. Basically, the deal is this. You're getting into this thing at 80 cents, 90 cents, whatever the number is. I think by the end of next month, first week of October, end of September, you're going to see a $2 stock is going to be forward looking. Again, the market goes forward looking. So let me give you an example. Peak Fintech. So Peak Fintech, it's a stock we introduced last year at 35 cents. So 70 cents, if you count in the reverse split now, and this thing hit $11. Right now, the market is valuing Peak Fintech, PKK, at forward. It's going forward. It's like, I don't know, 15, 20x revenues. It's the run rate is, what's the run rate? I think they're hoping, the goal is to do 100 million run rate. I think they're close to 100 million run rate. So, but this thing is a market cap of already over $1 billion. So PKK is over $1.25 billion, could be more. And that's 10x. Now, here's the thing. You got to realize, no matter how good the business is, there's a couple of issues here at this point. And this is kind of, by the way, so Fintech, PKK is not a client right now. Their thing was up a couple months ago, but fundamentally could be a good business. But here's the thing: what are you paying for? At this point, you're paying $1.25 billion for a company that has a fintech business in China that's not making a profit yet. It's a big multiple. It's a big multiple. Chinese, the Chinese stuff is a little bit. I'm makes me a little bit nervous. I think that Kathy Wood has gotten out of all her Chinese plays. There's just a lot of uncertainty there. So 10x is an aggressive number, okay? 2-3x, okay, I'm a value guy. I'm really no matter, even though I'm talking about all these like penny stocks and whatever it is, at the end of the day, I'm really a very conservative, investor. So I'm looking at things where what's my downside, what's my upside. So at this point, I think peak could pop here. I think peak could pop. I think it has a good chance it could either pop, it could go to $12, $14, $16. But just as easily, this thing can go back to $2. I mean, it's almost like a coin toss at this point. I could argue for either case. So I think this is a time where you want to look for things where you can get your next 10x. Because look, peak fintech, again, this thing is already up 12x. So is it going to go up another 10x? I mean, you're telling me that peak is going to go up to $100? I just don't think so. That would mean $12, $15 billion valuation. When? In 10 years? You're talking about a lot of uncertainty. Can it double? I think it could double. I think it's a toss up. But you're basically the proposition is this. You're saying, okay, I'm taking $10, I'm risking $10 to make $20. In theory, that $10 could drop to $2. Could happen, right? Could drop to $3, $4, $5, whatever it is. So it's the risk reward situation is not exciting anymore. So I think that if you've already made money in peak, it's up to you what you want to do. But I think, look, the upside here is limited, I believe. So what we're looking at right now is the next 10 baggers. That's what this live stream is about. Stocks that have potential to double, and high probability, low risk, high probability. When I say low risk, I mean, low risk in terms of low risk adjusted for the upside. So RHT is one of them. So RHT is one of the stocks that I think can easily double by October, end of September. So we're roughly about 30 days. My target on RHT, $5. I think this could be a $5 stock by February, March. At that point, I think it's going to be ahead of itself, but I think it'll get there. I think if these guys do 25 million run rate by December, the market's going to go absolutely batshit crazy. And this is going to be one of the hottest stocks ever. And again, here's what I love about this. The more haters a stock has, because people have been disappointed, whatever it is, the more upside there is. If you look at, let's say, peak fintech as an example, last year, or maybe earlier, last summer, this stock had a lot of haters. I can go down the list, every stock that it was at the bottom that people were like, oh, this is going nowhere. CBDT, perfect example. That went from a nickel to 250, right? So 50x in 4 months, an insane run. But there was the maximum pessimism was at the bottom, and the maximum optimism was usually at the top. So when I hear people saying, oh, this thing is going to go to $50 or whatever, that's when I'm, okay, include me out, like I got the parachute ready, I'm jumping out of the plane, include me out. I mean, it doesn't matter about the fundamentals. It's just because at the end of the day, you're basically buying a stock, right? So you want to have something where you have very limited downside, maximum upside. So I think RHT is that situation. Let me give you another one, which somebody was mentioning here, Visby. We haven't talked about Visby for a little while. So Visby, first of all, right now the chart is looking super bullish. It's a stock that we introduced last year here, I think 14 cents, 15 cents, no, 17, let's call it 17 cents, okay? So 17 cents, it ran to 90 cents. So not bad, okay. A little pullback. They did the capital raise. I think that's the thing but it wasn't a big decline. And it's been in a range for, look at this time. Again, the longer stock stays in a trading range, the bigger that base, the bigger the potential upside. So I think this thing could be $3 easily when this thing pops. Now, let me tell you first about the technicals. So here what you have is you have this kind of double bottom. You see the stock is pivoting off this double bottom. It broke out of the 50-day moving average. It retested the moving average. And what you saw on Friday, wow, very bullish market action. So, I mean, this thing is looks very, very powerful. I think this thing could be easily $1.20 by October 1st. So an easy double here. So I gave you RHT, you got Visby's an easy double. Okay, so what does visibility do? Very similar to RHT. It's the same thing. It's a recurring revenue subscription SaaS model. So their deal is it's a couple things. The ad displays in stores plus of the security aspect. They're making and they're getting a piece of the action from the ad. So let's say they put an ad display on a beer cooler in a store. By the way, they're in right now. Their big market is in Latin America. And from there, they're probably going to go into other markets, the U.S., Canada. I think they have some stuff in Canada right now, but they have a huge deal in Latin America, which by itself could make this thing massive. So I'm going to be talking more about the fundamentals later in the week because it's a very involved story and it's pretty interesting. But let me see here. But I want to rush through a couple. So again, a recurring revenue model. These guys could be doing some pretty big numbers. Again, it's a very unique business, so there's a big moat. That's the thing. When you get into these types of businesses like Visby, Relic, you have big moats. And what's a moat? Moat means it's worth a lot of money for somebody to buy up. Best risk reward ratio is TBP logic. I gotta say, it's a real toss up. It's a real toss up because this chart is super bullish looking. It's a toss up. It's a RHT. This thing right now, this current action in this chart is very bullish. So Visby's looking good, and Logic is actually the cheapest one, and the chart is you're getting in still early. See, a lot of these stocks have already moved up. Logic, you're getting in at the bottom. Nobody, and it's crazy. Everybody who says, "Oh, I want to get into the stock at the bottom. I want to buy at the bottom." Nobody wants to buy at the bottom. They all talk. Everybody talks about getting in at the bottom. They don't do it. They usually chase. They usually do the FOMO. The next stock, the next billionaire making penny stock. Actually, all the stocks we're talking about are potentially billionaire making stocks. But we're going to have, I think, one we're going to introduce. We have a few that are in the pipeline for September. There's a couple things for September, some new ones. And again, we're not going to be doing a lot of new companies. I want to get things down. So we're going to only have like a handful of companies, maybe 8 companies at the most in the super stock platform, because I want to focus on. I really want to just focus on 8 companies, which I want to put all focus on those, because I think, look, at the end of the day, I'd rather just have a bunch of 10 baggers than stocks that are just up 5x or whatever. So that's going to be the thing. There's just limited bandwidth. So that's the thing. Okay, so visibility looking very good. So I talked about visibility. I mentioned Trip. Trip could pop. That could. I don't see any reason why Trip can't double. Now let's go to TBP. TBP has been a little bit. It's been kind of on a. It's been a little on a what do you call it? A bit of a pullback here. So again, we introduced this stock where here somewhere, 15 cents at 17 cents, popped to 50 cents. So it was a quick 4x roughly. Had a pullback, and I think we're going to see some action here. We're waiting for some clinical trial results. If you see the chart, it's not really going down. It's kind of hanging out here. It's looking for some direction. You have a decent base here. You kind of have a reverse head and shoulders. It's kind of looking, this is the 1 hour chart. So, I would say the bias is to the upside. It needs to go back above the 30-cent range, which I think it probably could do this week. So you want to keep an eye on this, because when this thing moves, it's not going to move like 2 cents. I mean, you saw the way it moved before. I mean, this thing could move like crazy. I mean, it could double overnight. Let's go into logic. So again, here is a stock that's at the bottom. Everybody says they want to buy at the bottom, but they don't do it. I don't know why. Okay, again, we introduced this last year, literally a year ago. It was about 350 at the time we introduced it. It popped. It went to 14 and change in a couple of months. And just to give you an example, look how fast this thing can move. So it can move from 350 to $10 in a couple of weeks. So it tripled in a few weeks. And I think, what does that tell you? It tells you once this thing starts moving, it's going to move. This thing is starting to peak up. They really got derailed with the Canadian financing that they did starting in February. I mean, they really got destroyed with that. So here we are in bargain territory. You got to. What's the downside here? Here's the thing. I don't see any downside. Where is it going to go? It's going to go to 250. I mean, you're going to lose 50 cents. So basically, here's the way the risk reward, the proposition is this: you're risking 50 cents basically to make. Let's just say the target is $12. Let's say it goes to that the next resistance in the stock is roughly in the $10 range. So you're risking 50 cents to make $7. 12 to 1, is that a 12 to 1 ratio? I think that's a very good risk reward setup. So these guys are doing, almost 38 million revenues. 38 million revenues. There's a couple of catalysts in place. So again, 38 million revenues. Their peers are trading at 10x. This thing should be trading at 400 million plus. It's trading at under 100, on maybe 70 million roughly. Now, here is the catalyst. What's been keeping it down is they had low margins for a while, low gross margins because of another business. This is AppLogic business that they have. That's changing. If you look, their margins are increasing. Every quarter they've been increasing. The company is going to be doing acquisitions. The CEO was on Friday. Take a look at the live stream. And he talked about his goal is to get revenues to $100 million run rate next 12 months. So if they do 100 million run rate, and by the way, it's at this point, I think the guy understands, look, they got to have big gross margins. They can't, they need something with, real profit margins. So this time around, when they get to that 100 million run rate, it will be trading, I believe, at 10 times the revenue. So that'll be $1 billion valuation. And that would make this a $20 stock, basically, right? I think $20 roughly. So I think that's a pretty good risk reward ratio. Okay, so by the way, if you're just tuning in, make sure you click the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Also, we have links to join our Telegram. That's where we have intraday market commentary. The link is in the video description below. It's free. We have our Discord channel. Click the link in the video description. We got our website. Make sure you subscribe. Go to our website. Go to wallstreetreporter.com. When you go to the page, a little banner will pop to join our email list. You definitely want to be on our email list because there's a lot of great information there. So, I mean, hey, if you want to make money, you got to be on that email list. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. Um, okay. So, FCO. Yeah, I gotta see what's. Yeah, we gotta see what happens with this spin out here. We gotta get Peter back on. The FCO chart has been just kind of hanging out. It's been kind of hanging out. Let's see what happens here. But let me go to, okay, so ESE. Uh, you know what? I think ESE is, okay, so there's a couple stocks, two stocks. This is interesting. These two stocks were 10 baggers already. So they went from, whatever they were to 10x from the time we introduced them. So it's a proven thing. And then they pulled back. So now, and they've pulled back. It's down 60, 70%. So you have another bite at the apple with ESC and fans, both of these stocks. So I think this is a thing where you can have another bite at the apple. Look, at the end of the day, a lot of these things, like, people say, oh, we're going to hold on to the stock forever. You can't hold on to these stocks forever. These things will, they go up and down. This is not for holding forever. Doesn't work that way. All right, so where's my trend line? My trend line disappeared. Okay, so what is going on here? Let me draw you this trend line. Peak Fintech bouncing off the trend line, which is like, I would say, it's not quite, actually this is one. That's not really the one. There you go. Okay, so Friday, it's pretty interesting. You got your support, you got a support resistance thing here. So the thing bounced off key support in that kind of 62, 63 cent range. And it looks like it's going to start moving back up. And again, the longer the thing is in a base, the bigger the upside. So one of the things is this, which again, the company doesn't want to talk about this now, because I think they were originally talking about it, and a lot of investors got like too crazy about it, which is these their iGaming business, which is these the RNG, the spinning games, which they like these casino games that they license out to different online casinos. They get paid a percentage of the I guess I don't want to say the loss, but basically the percentage of the revenue, right, each month. So they have a couple of games. The goal is to get to 7+ games, and they're in development. It's pretty much happening, I think, more or less on time. By the way, nothing ever happens with these stocks exactly on time, so you got to always discount everything. But here's what's interesting: they brought in a new. They brought in this guy, what's his name? Lee, some guy named Lee, who's a very experienced CEO in that space, in the iGaming space, to basically to run this iGaming business for them. So which is good. So these guys are they're building out a pretty strong management team, because they got a lot of different aspects to their business. So this guy, again, he's been in that business 20+ years, great connections, knows what needs to be done. So I think you're going to see things really start to happen there. But I mean, that RNG business could be, each of these games, again, we can go through the numbers, but let's say, it could make a couple $100,000 per casino per game. Let's say they have 5 games by December. Let's say they have 5 games. Let's make. I think they said 7 is the number that they're looking for. So let's say they got 7 games. They license it out, and there's thousands of these online casinos, right? So they license out, a sweet package, 7 games. Each one of them makes, let's just say 50 grand per game, right? Let's be conservative, because some of the a successful game could make millions, right? But let's just say 50 grand. So 350 grand, and that goes right to the bottom line, basically. So 350 per casino. Let's say they only have 10 casinos. So 3.5 million a month. So these guys could be making 30 million a year, almost pure profit. I'm exaggerating, so maybe it's 15 million a year pure profit. What is that worth? A lot, all right? I mean, it's worth a lot. It could be worth, in this business, I mean, the multiples in this business, this could be $1 billion company. So, Mike Lee, that's the guy. Yeah. So, I mean, again, I could see fans going back to $3, $4, $5 pretty easily. And again, so it's a stock that we introduced last year at, I think it was 20 cents. 20 cents. It became a 10 bagger. So it's a proven entity. And by the way, here's the thing. Stocks that, my kind of theory is, look, a stock that did it in the past can do it again. So they have a track record. They already have, because psychologically, here's how it works. At this point, you already have investors who follow the stock, and maybe they missed a big run up. And once they see this thing start moving, they're going to say, oh shit, I missed out on that big run. I can't miss out again. I got to jump in on this. I got to get in on the next time this thing goes to, $3. So when this thing starts breaking out above $1, those people know that this thing can go to $2. When this thing, again, when it breaks above $1, people know, because it's done it already. So they know it's done in the past. They expect it's going to do it again. So it makes it, the path has already been paved. And that is why I also like ESC at this point. I'm going to clear these because these are not related. These are from the other thing. So ESE, where's roughly here is the trend line. I see it broke below the trend line. That's not super bullish, but I think it could easily turn around. It's very possible that these things could dip below. In theory, the trend line might have been lower, but whatever. So ESC, it's a stock we introduced at like 30 cents, I think it was. 30 cents. It ran to $4 and change within 1, 2, 3 months. Got a little bit ahead of itself, but you built up this long base. So when this thing breaks, it could go to $7, maybe even $8. But I really do believe that once this thing goes above this trend line and above this moving average, which is $1.25, let's just say $1.30, $1.50. And again, this stock moves like greased lightning. Once it goes above $1.50, $1.60, it's gonna easily double, because there's a lot of people who missed out on this big move up. They missed out on the big move from last time from 50 cents, 30 cents to $4. They don't want to miss out again, and so there's a lot more eyes on it today than there were way back then. So I think ESC is, again, one of these stocks, one of our stocks that could easily double by October 1st, end of September. So now in the thumbnail of the YouTube, I think I said 3 stocks that could double. I think I've given you more. I've given you RHT 1, ESC 2, Logic 3, Fans 4, TBP 5, Visby 6. Gave you 7. So I've pretty much given you everything. So but all these stocks, they all have really, really very strong possibility of doubling by next month. So Fans, 25 million in cash. By the way, Peak Fintech, PKK, they raised 50 million, and I think now with the warrant exercise, they're going to have 100. These guys Peak Fintech might have 100 million in the bank, which, again, that's one of the things I don't like about it at this point. Is like, it's a lot of money, and what are they going to? It becomes a different business now. It's like almost like, okay, how do they deploy it? it becomes almost like a SPAC. I mean, are they going to buy something? What? And then, but then the valuation thing comes into play. So again, how do you move something from $1 billion to 10 billion? I don't think it could be done that easily. It could maybe go to 2 billion, but it's difficult. By the way, we've never had a stock in our little universe that went above. This is actually the biggest number, so it's $11. Actually, no, technically it's really not. It's really $5.50 because of the reverse. So the biggest dollar, but that number it's a scary number, because when these stocks hit $10, all of a sudden the penny stock guys are not in it anymore. It becomes like a different animal. Like we had this with Cytodyne. We had this with Nextech. Does anybody remember Nextech? When these stocks get to these big numbers, you're losing, the air starts getting very, very thin, because you're getting really too, again, $10 is nothing in the scheme of things, when you have stocks trading at like Amazon, a couple $1,000s, but in the penny stock world, in the Canadian stock world, CSE, TSX, it's a big number. It's a very high number. That's why I don't think companies should do these reverse splits. I don't think they're good. They rarely work. I think these things should be organic. By the way, RHT, just to say RHT Relic, has said specifically that they are not raising capital here. They are not. They were very emphatic that they are not going to be raising capital, and there is no plan for any reverse split for NASDAQ or any of that nonsense. So this thing could run to a couple bucks very easily. You can see a very nice double very, very quickly. Yeah, I mean, so RHT, again, my target RHT, $5. It's going to take a while. It's probably going to take till April of next year, maybe March, April of next year to be. I think it's going to take a little while. Also, I should add, in today's market, it's a different market than we had last year or last November. So things are going to take longer. In a normal situation, it should take roughly, for our type of stocks, if everything works, about a year to become a 10x. 9 months minimum. We had a couple things go up 50x, 10x in 4 months. That's unusual. That's an outlier. Typically, company, if they have the right things going, it'll be a 10 bagger in 9 months. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the question is this? Here's my issue here. Is that you have $1 billion valuation, right? You got $1 billion valuation. Over $1 billion at this point. That's 10x revenues. Where is it going to go from here? Could it double? I think it could. Can it go to 5 billion with what they have? I don't see it, but you never know. I don't. But what I'm saying is this: these stocks that we're going right now, they have that easily. They all have a path to 5x, which is very easy. And again, if you want to make 5 times your money, 10 times your money, RHT has a clear path to get there. ESC has a clear path to get there. Logic has a clear path to get there. Fans, all these guys have an very easy road to be a 5-bagger plus. So yes, that's the thing. Yes. So see, that's what happens when Trump is out of the picture. You have chaos in the world. You got Joe Biden. You see what's going on in Afghanistan, and this is just getting started, by the way. So this is the market that was shaking it off for now. So I don't think it's a big deal. I mean, my only concern is, let's say China decides to take over Taiwan. Could happen in a year, and then they're going to control the whole semiconductor manufacturing business, right? They're going to move into Afghanistan. Afghanistan has like a couple trillion in natural resources that they're going to get. Yeah, look, our whole game here is basically to parlay. The whole idea, and from the first time I started doing these live streams last November, I think that when I did the first live stream, the chart chat thing, this is I was talking about, I think it was Next Tech. Next Tech was trading at $8 Canadian. And at the time I said, look, this thing is $8, right? Could it double? It could double, but it's getting a little pricey. There's better deals out there at this point. I mean, the whole idea is you want to parlay your money. You want to take $1,000. I'm using that as just an easy starting point. $1,000, that becomes 10 grand. That's your 10 bagger. That 10 grand becomes 100 grand. You do the third time, it becomes $1 million. We've had people do it, right? So, I mean, $1,000 is obviously low. I mean, there's people who can do this with, 50 grand, 100 grand, So yeah. By the way, I am in all of these companies, all our clients, I have basically skin. I don't want to say skinning, but I have options in these things. So I have, I'm basically, I'm in it essentially, and I exercise the options, and then I have the stock, and then I sell the stock once the stock goes up a lot. So that is the deal with these micro caps. Yeah, the whole thing is you want to keep your money. You want to parlay. You want to parlay like Calvin Ting, the Penny Stock Billionaire. That's the 22-year-old kid. By the way, check out the video we have with Calvin Ting. This guy really. I mean, it's a very interesting video to watch, just in terms of investor psychology. This guy, it's really uncanny. This guy's like 22. He's really like internalized a lot of. This guy's an incredible mindset. You could learn from this guy. Now, I think he turned, I think, $2,000 into over $1 million in about 6 months with some of our stocks. Actually, he turned it to 500 grand with our stocks, and he basically doubled it with another stock. So this guy did it. We have a couple of other people who have made a lot of money parlaying these things. So listen, all the peak fintech was frustrating for 4 or 5 months. I mean, I can go down the list of stocks that were frustrating as there were kind of in these holding patterns, because look, it's not a straight path to the moon. It goes like this, up and down. It's an up and down type of thing, and that's what this week. Big mover is expected. Relic, ESE, Logic, Fans, TBP. TBP is going to take a little while. So I think the big movers for this week are, which I think we could see big moves, RHT, Visby. Those two probably the biggest most volatile percentage moves probably. RHT and Visby probably biggest action for the degenerate day traders that might be watching this. Followed by ESE, Logic, Fans. TBP, I think, is going to be a week or two before it starts moving up. We got to wait to get some clinical data. And that's it. So I think we're going to, in the future, so these live streams, the chart stuff, I think we're going to move that to a different channel because this is more like opinion stuff. I don't want to mix it in with our CEO interviews. Because I don't want people to get the wrong idea that like we're pumping stocks, which we're not. So we're going to move this to the Penny Stock. These probably in a few weeks, we're going to move these to the Penny Stock Billionaire Gang channel, Penny Stock Billionaire Gang channel on YouTube. That's where it's probably going to be. Oh shit, I forgot the logo. This is the logo. Baseball caps with this logo. Okay, so this week we're gonna have a couple of live streams this week. Should be an exciting week for our stocks. And I will see you all later in the week. I'll see you on the next live stream. Thank you all for joining. Baby unicorns, great question. I have a we're supposed to do the thing, and it's just been a scheduling thing. So the scheduling thing has gotten kind of screwed up. We're going to have a baby unicorn. We have one in the pipeline. I'm just waiting for them to say what day they're available. So, and I think it's actually an interesting company. It's a NASDAQ company, actually. So it's a couple dollars already. It's a couple dollars. It's not a penny stock, but it's got the, it's got that 10x upside. So thank you, and I will see you.